I'll go over the history of arson, why arson is a crime, and punishments for arson. The 17th century English philosopher John Locke spoke about in his second treatise on government that the protection of private property is very important in government and is the main obligation and the bedrock of democracy. Even the Fifth Amendment of the United States reflects this by mentioning that one cannot take the property without the due process of law. Even if many disagree with John Locke on this view, most people agree that the protection of private property is a right that provides everyone with a source of personal enjoyment, pride, profit, motivation, and self-worth. Since arson it relates to one of the most simple of the human needs, shelter or habitation, it is considered one of the ancient property crimes. In the past, arson was considered a crime to common law because it threatened the need of a community members' feeling of security in their homes and additional buildings in their communities. In the 19th century, if someone set a fire to domestic or commercial buildings or areas, and if any stack of corn, grain, pulse, straw, hair, wood was damaged, it was punishable by death. In the past, before statutory law existed, the common law courts defined arson as a crime in which was committed against habitation. And there are 5 elements that had to be present: intent or malice, an actual burning. The burning had to be a dwelling or surrounding structures. The burned property had to belong to someone other than the arsonist, and the action had to occur during the nighttime. Now, though laws on arson vary depending by state jurisdictions and federal jurisdictions, and now the courts have broadened the definition of arson to be defined as all acts that result in the intentional burning of any person's property at any time. Punishments that are appropriate for arson depend on the instances. If murder is involved, it can result in a death sentence. However, if it's not involved and only property is damaged, then it can result in less severe punishments. For example, in Arizona, if someone is guilty of causing fire where a building was occupied, it is usually charged as a felony in the 2nd class. This can result in punishment of probation to 1 year in jail up to 12.5 years. If someone was convicted before for starting a fire, the punishment is time in prison from 4.5 to 23.25 years. If the property that was damaged is 100 or less in value, the crime can be charged as a Class 1 misdemeanor. Sometimes This charge carries a punishment of probation with 0 to 6 months of jail time and a fine of $2,500. If a person or people are injured as a result of the fire, there's an additional charge of aggravated assault where the alleged criminal is punished. And of course, the level of severity depends on how bad the injuries are.